Hello everyone, and welcome to the Homebodies Fitness Show. Today you are in for a very special treat. Dennis Spurling is a man who proved doctors wrong, who thought that he would never run again. Today we will show you his secrets to rising above the odds. Later on, we will reveal our insider tips on saying no when the sweet tooth comes knocking. So today we have a special running workout that is designed for people that have a little bit bad knees for various reasons and still want to run and possibly do a strength training workout in order to help them do that. So Dennis, could you tell us a little bit about your knee and how your doctors kind of explained what you would have to do to be able to cope with the knee pain that you experienced?
Sure. Through the 40 years of running that I've experienced, I've had 3 different knee surgeries. To the extent that in my right knee, I no longer have any cartilage at all, and in the left knee, minimal cartilage. And it got to the point where now every 6 months I have to have what's called a Synvisc shot, which is a shot that helps cushion and also lubricate the knee.
Okay. So even though it might have been advised that you didn't run, you basically have been able to make it happen with some special exercises and strength training?
Absolutely, positively. My surgeon told me I wouldn't run anymore and shouldn't run anymore.
Yeah.
But he knew I would ignore that advice.
Right. And a lot of people, when they're told to not run, are like, woohoo, I don't have to run. But Dennis doesn't really feel that way because he likes running. So we wanted to help him get back into that with as little pain as possible. So we're going to go through that workout today and show you how we do it. The first one is face down plank with alternating feet. So I'll show you how this one goes. Now this one does require a little bit of coordination because you're alternating the feet, you're trying to keep your body still. And I would say that coordination was one of the things Dennis was concerned about when he first started.
There's no doubt about it.
That he wouldn't be able to do, but you got quite a bit better over time. So go ahead and show us your face down plank. And he uses this pad in order to make his elbows feel a bit more comfortable, which is definitely a good idea. You can use a pad or a pillow if the extra padding feels good. So we're just going to alternate the legs, trying to keep this still. Yep, right in the low back. And a little bit longer on the hold, Dennis. So hold it for a second, and then drop, and then switch. Nice. A little bit more apart with the hands. Perfect. And remember to keep the breath going. You're still a little quick. Hold and switch, perfect. Drop the head a tiny bit, nice. So I'm looking for a straight line from his spine all the way to his tailbone, and just do 2 more on each side, Dennis. He does a great job of only lifting his leg to parallel to the floor. A lot of people, you can come down. A lot of people it'll start winging way up, and it does take practice to have the control to sense where that is. Next is a little bit more of an advanced one for the core. Now, the face down plank, the reason that we just did that gives you some core strength and coordination, which is very useful when you run. The stronger your core is, the less work your knees have to do and less pressure is on your knees. That's, I would say, beginner to intermediate. This next one is a little bit more of an advanced movement. I will explain how you can do it as a beginner. So the beginner would want to just hold this position and not move the ball. Once you're able to hold pretty easily, you would start doing what we call a tuck-in. That way. This is a newer one for Dennis, so he hasn't completely mastered it, but he does a pretty good job. So we're gonna let him try that. The ball goes under between your knees and your shins. Legs are together. And the hand position is optional. Go ahead and do the tuck in. You can have the fingers apart, you can have them straight forward, you can curl them underneath like he's doing. He's got a little bit of arthritis in his fingers, so that is more comfortable for him. That's perfectly fine. It's much more about what the core and the legs are doing than the hands. Nice job. So he's doing a great job keeping this part of his back up, which is usually what you see people like that banana back sagging. That looks really good. And let's go with 2 more of those. So this is another core strengthener. And again, the more strength you have and control in your core, the less your legs and knees have to do. So anything you can do as a runner to build up your core, not only is it going to keep your back healthy, but it's really going to help keep your knees healthy as well. So now we're going to do one for the side of the body, which we just worked on the front of the body. We're moving to the side. So side plank. This is another slightly more advanced one in that there are 2 movements in one here. So we're going to dip the hip and lift, and then lift the foot, dip the hip, and then the foot. And it's very important that these movements are separated so that you see the 2 movements, not blending them all together into one, but seeing the separation there. So go ahead and try that. You can pick a side to start with. And again, the pad comes out. This thing has been very trusty over the years.
It has.
What is it, like a gardening pad?
It is.
Okay. Dip your hip and lift your leg. Good. So we've worked very hard over the years to get his body in one line. And it's still not so easy, I think, on his other side, but this side we've got down pretty well. So from the top, I can see his head to his feet to his hips, everything's straight. And just do one more, Dennis, and then you can switch sides. Nice. Why don't you stay facing that way, so spin around, yeah. We gotta pull this elbow right over your body, good. Go ahead. The other thing you'll see a lot with beginners is they're gonna bend their legs. If you have the urge to bend your legs, simply don't dip as far and you won't have to bend them. It is super important to keep the legs locked. So this stretches and strengthens the muscles of the core. It also works the side of the hip, and the side of the hip is a very important muscle to help protect your knee from doing too much work. Just do 2 more of these, Dennis. 1 and 2. Great. So do you remember when we first tried that one and you didn't even do the leg lifting?
Absolutely.
It was just the hip, and you probably thought, like, is she crazy?
Yes.
So, and then when I had you do the leg up and down, you're like, she's definitely crazy. And then when I asked you to do 2 together.
Extremely difficult.
Yeah,
Extremely
and
difficult.
it's much harder than it looks.
Much harder.
Yeah. So we are going to do more of a weight training one next. So this is called weighted chair squats. I say chair squats, well, we don't have a chair. So we're gonna have to improvise, which is perfectly fine because all you need is a chair or a table. Anything that's about knee height or even a little bit lower is a good place to start. So we're gonna take the weights. Your feet are set up about hip width apart, and you want to bend down, tap the surface, and stand up. And you're just tapping, you're not plopping down on it. If you have to plop down, you probably aren't quite ready to be using the weights. So definitely just using it as a reference point and not actually sitting on it. So go ahead and try that one. I think you can be a little closer to the table. Tiny bit closer, good. I need your toes, Dennis, closer together. Good, right there. So what we're looking for here is that the kneecap is lined up directly over the toes. Now he tends to have a problem where his knees like to move back and forth, which is probably how his knee pain kind of developed over time. So I keep a close eye on it. And you want to always prioritize form over how many reps and how much weight you're doing. Okay, just do 2 more of those. His posture looks really good. He's not bending over too far. So really the only thing I see is sometimes his knees like to waver a little bit. Now if you can do this in front of a mirror, it's great because you can see your knees if they're moving around. If you don't have a mirror and you don't have a friend to watch you, you might need to just literally look down at your knees and watch if they're going back and forth. It isn't really great form to bend your head over, but if your knees are moving around, you might have to do that. So if you're going to look at your knees, you just want to make sure that you're looking with your eyes and you're really not dipping your head down. So this, I'm kind of glancing down at my knees, but I'm not really like bending it like this. You don't want to do that. That's completely bad form. So kind of just checking with your eyes is the best way now. So as far as like doing these by yourself, do you feel like you couldn't trust yourself to do them properly without?
Be really difficult.
Yeah, so he likes to have me with him whenever he works out in order to keep the form.
Absolutely.
But If you do have to work out by yourself, then you might have to check your own form on that one. So we are going to try one that has been a nemesis for Dennis over the years. It's like pull your hair out kind of nemesis. It's called a rear pull. And the reason this one is so hard is it works all these little muscles in the back of the shoulders. Now, those muscles are very important for your posture. One of the main reasons people's knees get injured is because they're too hunched over when they do everything, including when they run. Have you been working on your posture when you run?
I absolutely have.
Do you feel like these exercises kind of train you in a way to be able to do that?
Oh, no question at all.
So as far as the posture, what you want to do is just be nice, straight up and tall. Have your thumbs up, arms are locked, and then what you want to do is pull the band and get the arms behind you, and then just go to the front. Now, a lot of times when we do this exercise, I have people stand with their back against a door, just for a reference point, a door or a wall, so that you know if your hands are getting far enough back. But once you've gotten better at it, you don't really need that anymore. So let's try that. So you can grab. Now, the closer you grab, the harder it's going to be. So I suggest starting out around shoulder width and going from there. Thumb up. Hitchhiking thumbs. There you go. You hitchhike all the time, right?
In college.
In college, he hitchhiked. Okay, now as far as where the band goes, he's doing great with this. It's a little bit of a graphic kind of image here, but I tell people go for the nipple line. That's how you know you're at the right spot. And when I told Dennis that, he seemed to know right where his nipples were, so that worked out very well for him. Thumbs up. Where did you go to college?
University of Mass and Amherst.
Oh, lots of hitchhiking then, huh?
Oh, yes.
Your thumbs are losing it again. There you go. Last two. Another thing you'll tend to see is people start doing a drastic arch back. He didn't make that mistake, but a lot of people will start going like this to get the arms open. You want to do it all in your shoulders and keep your body nice and straight. And which muscles help keep your body upright and make your posture good? Which muscles?
Your back muscles.
They do, but I think there's another one that's even more important, and it's these ones.
Oh, the core.
Because you want to tighten that, like
Right.
you're going to be punched in the stomach, right?
Right.
That we talked about that. Because when you tighten up your stomach, if you can try it at home right now, tighten your stomach and try to arch backward. You really can't. So it kind of automatically gives you that form that you're looking for. Okay, so we are going to do another one that took a long, long time for Dennis to get. So it's Judgment Day. We're going to test it on camera today. It's actually, I'm just teasing him. Because the thing is with this one, you can, if you fall over when you do it, it's a balancing one. So you want to just try to keep going with this. So you stand on one leg with a weight, bend down. Oops, and see I'm falling over already. So it just shows you that you never really master it. You just try each day to do your best at it. So what you're trying to do is balance on one leg. You hold the weight on the same side as the leg that you're working. And when we first tried doing this, you can go ahead and start on the right side. When we first tried doing this, he's like, Gina, can I hold a post? I said, you can't, and I'll tell you why, because if you hold the post, you're never gonna learn to do it without the post. You'll just get better at doing it with the post. So I wouldn't let him, and he really didn't like it, and I could tell he just wasn't very happy when I said he couldn't use it, but I think he believes me that the only way to get better at it is to force yourself to try. Form looks great. All right, let's switch sides.
This is much more difficult than it looks. Way more difficult.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we've done it every week for probably 3 years. And I mean, I showed one and I fell. You really never are gonna get to the point where you're perfect at it, just because balance is a tricky thing and it changes from day to day. It's hard when the lights are blaring in your face trying to do these things, but this is good. He's getting a good training effect. And actually, the harder it is for you, the more you get out of it, so it's fine. So why don't you do 2 more, Dennis? Good? Nice job. You can put that weight back. So that one, it works the leg that you're standing on right around the hip, and again, those are the muscles that control how your kneecap points over your foot. So it works your low back, stabilizing your body. It works your calf, your foot, all the muscles that stabilize around there. Sometimes when people jog, I know that you like to go to the lake.
I do. Nose a lake.
So it's not like a perfectly smooth, flat surface. No. You could roll an ankle if you step the wrong way. And so whenever you are on an uneven surface, the better your balance is, the quicker your body can adapt to the various terrain that you're on, and you're much less likely to injure yourself. So it comes in handy that way too. And then anytime you're on one leg, you're challenging your core to keep your body stable and balanced, which is really helpful when you go to run, because when you run, you're never on both legs,
right.
Not for any moment. You're either on one or you're on the other. So then you try to weight train and you're constantly using both legs, and you think, wait a second, I don't even use both legs when I run, so
right.
It doesn't help you directly in that way. So this is a really good way to get that running. So we're gonna do the walking lunge next. So I'm just gonna have you grab those weights and show them that one. So this one we do in laps, kind of like you can go ahead and step forward and then switch sides. And we have a little short area here, so he's just gonna turn right around right there. That's far enough. We wanna stay right on this carpeted area. Okay. When we're in his normal workout place, he has a lot longer stretch, but you just turn around as many times as you need to in order to do the laps. So these laps are like mini ones for Dennis. Now he's a runner, he's in good cardiovascular shape. He also hikes for hours on end, so you can do one more lap. So you'd think, what's the big deal, walking lunges? Well, the big deal is that your heart feels like it's exploding. You can put the weights down. Tell us a little bit about how your heart and lungs feel after that one.
They burn.
Yeah.
It's much more cardio than you'd ever think.
It is, because if you think about it, you're holding a load, and that's really where the difference is. You're also using your muscle through a greater range of motion. When you walk or run or even hike, you're never bending your legs all the way.
Not like that.
And then to add weights to it, I mean, sometimes when you hike, you have a pack.
Right.
Which kind of is, but you know.
It's centered on your back. It's totally different.
Yeah, so.
You can dial it in.
So I find a lot of people that do another activity like running will come to me and they say, well, I don't need cardio, I don't need legs because I run. And I'm like, oh, you do. Because it's not the same as strength training your legs. And you'll find that by strength training them, it's gonna carry into your running and help it. Because in the past, you used to run 6 times a week?
6 times a week.
And now you run how many times?
3 to 4.
So do you feel like you became worse at running since adding the weights?
No, not at all.
So it's more or less stayed steady?
Oh, it's helped my knee too, tremendously.
Right. So basically, you don't really lose by cutting down on the running, but you gain so much by doing the strength that it's a really good compromise to kind of combine the two and do them on alternate days. We also, at the beginning, weren't sure whether or not he would want to run and do the weights on the same day. How did that go when you tried?
I found out that does not work at all.
Yeah, I said, you know, it might not be the best idea. So of course, he decides to try it and decided that I was right.
About a quarter of a mile in,
yeah.
I said, this is not a good plan.
No. Okay, so we're going to do one next that's going to hit the arms, and it's another posture one, standing bent over row. So what we do here is you set up the legs bent, and you pull the weights to your sides, and you lower and pull and lower. There you go. You can try that one. Good. A little bit slower. Pull fast, but lower slow. Good. I think he had an extra cup of coffee today, which
2
is part of why he's kind of turbo speeding through these. That's better. And last one. Very good form on that. So he has perfect form. His back is a little bit arched, which is what you want. Your head should be up looking forward. You pull the weights to your lower rib cage. And for all the weights, we want to pull fast and lower slow. That's the pace for them. So we've gotten through really all the muscles we need to train for a strength training runner's workout. And so next we're going to move into a couple of stretches. When muscles are tight, they're actually weak. So stretching actually helps your strength. So we spend a lot of time, Dennis and I, when we do training together, on stretching. And does it feel like kind of easy and like, oh, it's just stretching, that'll be just the easy part?
My first thought was that when you said about 1/3 of the time was stretching, oh, that's time off.
Time off, yeah.
Not so much.
Well, there's no time off with Gina, right?
No, no time off for Gina.
Okay, you should have known better. So this one, it's called piriformis, which is really a fancy name for one of the deep muscles in your hip. Some people just simplify it, they call it the butt stretch, which works fine. So you've got your ankle over your knee, and you bend forward as far as you can. One mistake you'll see people do is they let the head fall down. What you want is you actually want your belly button to move more towards your shin. So by doing a slightly arched back, your belly button gets closer. If I go like this, my belly button's actually moving further away. So that's not the right form for that move. Go ahead, Dennis, and show us your piriformis. Okay, now I think this is slightly lower of a table than we usually use, so it's gonna make it a little harder for him. You just hold on your shin, and that's fine, and then just gently lean forward. We also tend to do this on kind of a padded couch, and this is hard, so all these changes can affect how deep you can go. But he's doing well with his range. I just need you to push this part of your back forward. Yes. And sometimes even just sitting in that position, he's taller than me, so this is actually a deeper stretch because this table is so low. Some people will just sit there and they feel it. You probably feel it just sitting up straight. So it's not like a show-off contest of how far you can bend over. You have to make sure you're working the right muscles. Go ahead and switch sides. So I'm gonna hold these for about 30 seconds. Good, that's a much better form. And just keep the breathing nice and easy. So when I have a client that I consider to be a pain in the butt, that's exactly what this stretch is. A pain in the butt. Do you feel it in your butt?
I certainly do.
Okay. All right, you can come out of that one. Next, so that was hip. Now, when you think about a joint that has pain, if it's your knee, a lot of people think, I want to stretch for my knee. Well, first of all, your knee is a joint. It's not supposed to stretch. If it stretches, something's drastically wrong because it's supposed to just be a stable joint. But what you can stretch is above and below the knee because those are the muscles that are going to put pressure on the knee when they're too tight. So that's the hip. That's obviously above the knee. We're going to go to the calf next, which is below the knee. So this is a calf stretch. It's called inverted V calf. So you can do one leg at a time, or you can do both legs at the same time. So I'm going to have Dennis do the one leg at a time. Go ahead and try that. And it's also known as, in yoga, it's known as downward dog. So the head is between the arms. And we're not actually doing raises though, we're just stretching right now. So you can leave your heel down. You can do a strength exercise in this position too, but right now we're just stretching. That looks great. Try to push your armpits more towards your thighs. This part has to push. It's better. Other side. So it actually stretches your shoulders too by pushing those armpits toward the thighs. Then show them with your head sticking out. Show them how to do it wrong. So that's wrong, now do it right. That's good. And let that heel just relax towards the floor. There you go. Nice job. All right, you can come out of that one. Did you bring your sweat towel today?
No.
Oh, that was a
Big
mistake.
mistake.
Huh? Yeah, it's December, so he didn't think he would need it, but usually in the office we've got these fans going and it kind of cools things up.
The air conditioner even.
The air conditioner, right. And I'm in there in my winter coat trying to just stay bundled up so he can not sweat quite so much. So we have a Twitter question. If you want to follow me on Twitter, you can find me on Homebodies Fit. The Twitter question is, I know I shouldn't eat a lot of sweets, but I can't help myself. Any tricks? So when me and Dennis first started working together, this was a big topic of conversation because like most people, he likes sweets. So we had to figure out ways to allow him to feel satisfied, but also to be eating healthy things that aren't gonna hurt his diet. Now, having a sweet tooth is very natural and common. Human beings are actually designed to crave sweets so that we can get the nutrition that we need. But the key is to be able to choose things that aren't going to hurt your diet quite so much. So we've been doing shakes and bars.
Right.
And you pretty much eat them every day?
I do. In fact, today I've had 2.
2 protein bars, yeah.
Yes.
He like carved up for, or proteined up, I guess.
And a protein shake, too.
Shake. So he's like, he's ready to just, I mean, this isn't even enough for him. He's gonna like want to go for a hike or something after this. The thing with the sweet tooth, it's much easier to stay ahead of the sweet tooth than to try to chase it. So a lot of times in the past, Dennis would, start the morning okay, but then it's like lunchtime, he gets into the pastries, and by dinner time, he's looking for brownies and cookies and stuff in the kitchen. But if you incorporate the sweets all day, do you feel like you don't have that edge to you where you're like searching as much?
Absolutely, especially when the sweets are in protein form, because
Right.
that really fills you up.
It does, and it's like a double benefit because not only do you squelch the craving, but you get the protein that you were looking for. So the key is to find things that have the nutrition you need and also sort of satisfy the taste that you're interested in. So there's so many bars and shakes out there, and I think a lot of people kind of assume they don't taste very good. There's a lot of different products, and you just need to try some. You found ones that you really enjoy,
absolutely.
right? Almost to the point that you look forward to them.
Absolutely, positively,
Yeah.
no question
Sometimes
about it.
when I'm working with him, the mailman's coming and he's like, "Ooh, my protein bars," and
Right.
you'd think it was like some ridiculous, yummy thing, but it's just you get used to it and then you look forward to it. So that's really what you want to do, is find things that you can look forward to that are really what you need. You'll also find too that your taste buds adjust. When you first started eating healthier, did you feel like just things that are normally desserts, now you have them and it's like, wow, this is almost too sweet?
There's an adjustment, no question about it.
Yeah.
And the stuff I used to eat, like the scones in the morning, are just, it's like, I don't really want to do that anymore.
Yeah, and your taste buds will adapt to what you're kind of putting into them. So at first it might seem like, how could I not crave these things? But it really does like adjust. Like even with coffee and things, how much sugar you put in, has that changed?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I used to put probably 2 teaspoons, and now if I put any, it's half a teaspoon.
This is kind of a little bit of a special tip that I don't even know that I've told you, but I think we might have talked about it a while ago. Mint is a very good antidote to the craving of sweets. So if you really have a hankering, if you can pop like a mint or a piece of mint gum, think about the feeling you get after you brush your teeth. Most people don't really want to eat right then, right?
No.
It's kind of gross, right?
It is.
So that's always a good thing. So I like to keep Altoids or just some chewing gum around if I feel that urge, and I really don't need to eat anything. And it's a pretty cool trick for when you get the munchies.
Yeah, that's interesting. No, we have not talked about
Or what does your wife call them? Call it when you try to
graze.
Yeah.
She said, I'm grazing.
Right, because it's like you start kind of, everyone does. You go in the kitchen and what's here, and you like open the thing and look, and it's just, that's what people do, and you want to try to get so that you feel satisfied and you don't have to get to that point because you're already satisfied with what you're eating on a daily basis. So thank you very much, everybody, for watching. We'll see you next time.